Good morning, Southeast Missouri, and wherever you may be listening. This is the Retirement Playbook brought to you by Alspal Wealth Management. We are the retirement people, and we're here with you every Saturday morning, bringing you some great information to help you and your family with your own retirement. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Shore. Hello, Tony.
Hey, Brock. Great to be here. Great to be here.
Lots of
I,
energy
I
this
couldn't
morning.
I could not be better. I've got a lot of energy too, so watch out.
Oh,
I've
boy.
had my coffee. I've had my 40 cups of coffee this morning, and I'm excited about the show.
Our listeners are in for a doozy today.
You're in for a doozy. All right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna be watch that first step. It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. Listen, we've got a great show lineup for you folks today. We're going to talk about simple but powerful financial steps that you can take for your own retirement. But before we do, I want you to go to our website. I want you to email me, call me, whatever you need to do to get started with a good financial, solid plan for you and your family today. It's Alspal Wealth Management, all spelled out, folks. Alspal, ALSPAUGH, wealthmanagement.com. You can check out past shows. You can also, and by the way, Tony, yes, we are live finally. Yes, this is our first show of the year that we have a live website. 2024 can officially begin because Alspal Wealth Management is now live.
So it's not just a landing and contact page, and
Yeah.
a brand new site is up and live and running. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about it. New look to it, obviously, with the new logo and the name change and all that. So we just kind of revamped the entire thing. But, folks, you can still download past shows and do all the same things you were able to do before. You can request a meeting with me on our website. You can also you look at our retirement income toolkit. Okay, so it's still out there. All of that information is there. You can order my book. It's called The Last Paycheck. Okay, how to build sustainable retirement income and keep those paychecks coming in. That's the goal. That's what everybody wants to do. Well, you can get started today by ordering that book. But if you need a customized plan, if you're saying, you know what, it's time. I need help. I need someone to walk me through my financial life. And that's what we're here for. So just give us a call, 573-332-7855. Or again, you can request an appointment with me by going to alspalwealthmanagement.com and click on that button. All right, Tony, are you ready?
Brock, I am so ready. I'm so good today. If I was any better, my name would be Brock Alspa. You know that?
Yeah, I know. Listen, I've always said there's two things, at least for me anyway. I mean, I'm sure this is different for everybody, but for me and our family, we try to focus on two things to create happiness in our lives. And that's what you want, right? I mean, you want to be happy. You don't want to have stress.
Yeah.
Financial stress and emotional stress, all these things that can cause stress. There's two things that we try to focus on to reduce those things and to create more happiness. And that is number one, keeping things simple, right? So simplicity is so powerful. You know, taking things that are, viewed as elementary or easy or simple, but if you add up a bunch of simple things, it can be a really good thing. And then so keeping things simple, like don't complicate your life.
Right.
It's just one of those things. I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go buy that. Well, you're going to buy it because you want temporary satisfaction, folks. That's what it really is. Because ultimately, those things a lot of times either create financial stress because you bought this new car and yeah, it's great and shiny and all that stuff, but now you've got to pay for it. So you've got this payment and it's putting a stress on your financial life. The other part of it is that you have other things associated with it. You know, maybe it's a car that's souped up and now you've got to put premium gas in it and it's costs a lot more. Insurance costs a lot more. There's a lot of other things just outside of the cost of that thing that make it complicated.
Yeah.
And we don't want complication in our lives, folks. We want to get rid of complication and bring in simplicity. Okay? Keep things simple. That's number one. Number two is organization. If you are organized in your life, whether it's your financial life, which we will help you do, but other things in your life with your kids' schedules, your schedules, what you're doing in your life, if you're organized and you have your stuff together, between that and keeping things simple, to me, it's like, man, there's a lot of good things that can come out of that. And if you relate that to your financial life, keeping things simple, which is kind of the topic of today, simple but powerful financial steps. Look, there's no get rich quick scheme, okay? And all of these things that are out there that promise you this and that, forget about it. Like, keep it simple. Let's stick to blocking and tackling. When it comes to football, what wins football games? Some say defense. It's the blocking and tackling. If you can do those two things really, really, really well, the rest of the things will fall in line. Same thing with your financial life. And when it comes to your retirement, keep things simple. Do the fundamental things like actually save money. Let's take advantage of matches if we have that available in 401ks. There's just a lot of things you can do to keep it simple that will create a lot of success. So to take that a step further and kind of relate it to your financial life, AARP has an article. It's titled 10 Retirement Planning Mistakes People Make After 50. And it offers some great insights that I think many of our listeners out here, Tony, will find it very valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one notes that you may want to be prepared for leaving your job, whether by choice or circumstance, prior to the common financial, retirement age, which, still a lot of people are using 65. The article cites that in 2022, Employee Benefits Research Institute surveyed that found that 47% of people retired sooner than they anticipated.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of a shocking number to me, Tony, because
it is.
You think, okay, well, people aren't saving enough, and so they're not able to retire when they did this study and found that 47% of people retired sooner than they anticipated. I think a lot of that is, if you ask 10 people, when are you going to retire? What do they say? Never, right? They say, I'm going to work until I'm 80 and all this other stuff. So I think the expectation, because they internally know that they're not saving enough money to truly retire at 60, 62, or 65, that their expectation is they're going to work till 70 or 75. Well, doing the little simple things can help you this reality come true as far as retiring a little bit earlier than you thought. Okay.
Or being more prepared for when you do retire, whether you retire earlier or later. I think a lot of people that do retire early aren't necessarily prepared or have a plan in place for making that last long term. So that's where a plan comes in. That's where you come in, right?
That's exactly right. And so, that's part of that organization thing is getting a plan.
Yep.
Because if you get a plan and you understand what you're doing and you're organized, then you'll probably have a good success rate of making that happen, right? In other words, It's more likely to happen when you're organized with a real plan. And a plan is not putting money in a 401k and hoping that someday ends up enough for you to live off of and something like your Social Security.
Right.
Which, Tony, you and I both seen that. So.
Yeah. A lot of people just put like a minimum amount into a 401k and think that and Social Security is going to be good enough. And that is, that's not good. Right.
It's not good. Nope.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Danger. Yeah. Lots of danger there when it comes to don't step in that line, that landfill or that landmine. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, don't step in a landfill either.
Well, don't step in a landfill. That might hurt worse than stepping on a landmine. But oh shoot. Okay, so your 50th birthday, the article notes, may also be an ideal moment to do something else that's very simple but very powerful, which is looking at your financial strategy and making sure that you are well balanced and you don't have too much risk or you're not too conservative. And it's funny, Tony, because when you see volatility spike, that's in our world, it's measured by something called the VIX. And so when that number gets up over 20 and then to the, up closer to 30, that's when it's really volatile and people get really scared. And you can see the investor behavior change. And then not in the probably the best way, which is, oh gosh, I'm getting scared and I'm just going to sell everything and put it into cash. Well, my money market's paying me 5%. So what? Do you realize this year that the stock market did 20 or 30%? So I'm not saying 5% money market isn't good. It is good. But for a portion of your dollars that is fundamentally sound, Like, we don't want to just put all our money in that and sit on the sidelines and just wait for an opportunity, because you missed it in 2023 if you did that, right?
Right.
So making sure that you stick to the plan of not having too much risk, and on the flip side, not being too conservative. Look, it's extremes, right? You don't want to be on the extremes. You don't want to be too conservative, and you don't want to be too aggressive. You want to be balanced, okay? And so that balance depends on a couple different things. One, your balance is different than maybe mine, Tony, right? My balance might be, 70% in stocks and 30% more conservative items, right? Or investments. So, yours might be more closer to 50-50 because you're way older than I am, Tony, right?
You know what, Brock? I was trying to think of a response there, and I got to keep it clean for the kids. Yeah. Well, I am older than you. Yes, I am well into my 50s. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Well, I'm well into my 40s, so yeah.
I still have more hair, but yes, I am well into my 50s.
Okay,
there you go. I get shots fired.
Shots are been fired, folks. And if you're on YouTube watching our show instead of listening to it, you'll understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, I've always said, with your good looks and my hair, we make a perfect video host.
I think what Tony is saying is I'm follically challenged. Okay. And so, I'm bald. And he's not.
You're bald, but you're still better looking than I am bald. So that's, what is that? And I got a full head of hair. So what's that say? I mean, that's not good.
Okay. So not being balanced, right? That's a simple but powerful strategy just to make sure that you are balanced for your specific risk tolerance, time horizon, and income goal planning. Okay. A lot of people will say, well, just your time horizon and your risk tolerance, but it goes beyond that. It's like, hey, when are you going to need income from this? And so income planning, another component there to making sure that you are allocated correctly. mycolormoney.org, by the way, folks. You can go to mycolormoney.org and you can fill out an 11-question survey, and it will give you a start. It'll give you an idea of how you should be allocated. It'll give you a score, in other words, and it will explain what that score means based on your answers to the questions. Again,
so that's mycolorofmoney.org.
Right.
.org.
So, yep, exactly. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. So the article notes that adding the catch-up provision opportunities to your contributions could be a very, very good idea. If you can swing it, there's the limits for 2024. If you're at least age 50, there's something called a catch-up contribution. So basically what that means is that Tony's raising his hand.
Yeah.
What that means is if you max out your normal deferrals of $23,000, then they allow you, actually it's $23,500. They allow you to put in an extra dollar amount called a catch-up contribution, and it gets you to that $31,000 number for the year. And I was right the first time. I'm sorry, guys. It's $23,000 for 2024, which is your normal deferral max in your retirement plan, 401k, 403b, what have you. Okay. Now, some listening may go, well, I can't get close to that. I mean, I only make $50,000. I can't defer that much. And I get it. But for those that you need to know these numbers. $23,000 is the normal. Then you can do an additional $8,000 for 2024. Why is that important to know, especially at this time of year? We're talking January. Is that if you still have your contribution limits set for last year's limits, both of those numbers have gone up. It's gone up by a total of $1,000. Get that extra $1,000 in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be meaningful in a few years. So understanding what the limits are and how close you are, and understanding that if you are over 50, you have this catch-up contribution, can be very powerful. Again, a very simple step, but very powerful.
Yeah, and based on those numbers, it seems like catch-up provisions are a good option for some of our listeners. Once you turn 50, if you're working with a financial professional, you'll know how much more you're going to need to retire when you want and meet your retirement goals and your goals in life and finances. So, but I'm curious about the effect of debt for those who are at least 50. What can you tell us about that?
Okay. this is where, okay, we have some general rules and some general thoughts as far as the financial planning industry does.
Sure.
Then you have some personal thoughts that come into this too.
Sure.
You try not to get too much into that, but I do, and I don't care. It's my show, right? So, or it's our show. I shouldn't say it. It's our show. It's the Retirement Playbook.
It's all about you, Brock. Let's be honest.
Well, okay. So here's the deal. This is a number. This is part of the article here, and it says, okay, if you're over 50 and you end up with more college debt than necessary because they didn't take advantage of 529 plans, okay, or you're saying, hey, kid, go borrow the money, we'll cover it. So basically, essentially, is what you've done is you've taken on debt. You might be perceived as, and you might tell people that, you know, your kids have this college debt, but ultimately, if you're saying that and you're doing that, then it's your debt. And so now you've added an additional outgoing expense, okay, of covering this loan and loan payments for however long. And it could, and I've seen it, Tony, prevent you from living out your retirement years or retiring when you want to. So it's just like your own debt. You want to control that to make sure that you can still save enough money to retire when you want to and to maintain your lifestyle. But my point is that, you know, I know you want to help your kids, and that's an admirable thing. But when it comes to the expense of you not doing what you need to do or want to do, that's where it becomes a problem. Okay.
So what you're saying is, I hear what you're saying, reading between the lines. I have 3 kids in college. For our listeners out there, I think you're implying do not take money out of your retirement funds to pay for your kids' college. That's not necessarily a good idea to go into debt in that way. Is that what you're saying?
I would take it a step further and not only say it's not a good idea, it's a horrible idea. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It really is. I mean, because think about, you know, the amount of money that you've taken out now, and now, you know, in the market goes up and down. It's just, it can really, really derail. So we all understand the power of compounding interest, right? Where you put money in, you earn an interest rate, and it's amazing what that can grow to because of the growth and the compounding interest. It's the 9th mystery or wonder of the world, or whatever it is.
8th one. It's the 8th wonder of the world.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I got it wrong.
Compounding interest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for getting me back on track there. So my point is that when you take money out of that account or retirement account, we're potentially paying taxes and penalties, number one.
Yep.
And number two, we now have lost the compounding effect of interest on those dollars forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, you're taking them out of probably an account or that's attached to the market. You're probably taking that money out of the market. And if you happen to take that money out at the wrong time, it's even going to compound the negative impact on your compounding interest and your gains and everything else, right?
Compounding, negatively compounding. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. There's a lot of compounding there. But you know, if you have too much compounding on the negative side, you'll end up with compost, is what I always say, which is not what you want.
That's a good one, Tony. You got a lot of dad jokes that are questionable. That one was good. Good job.
I have a lot of jokes that are questionable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Okay. Next. Okay. Winter stand. Look, you want to help your kids out. Summarize that section. But let's not do it at the expense of you being able to retire when you want, how you want. Okay.
Yep.
Next one is it if you're over 50, it's a good time to reconsider or even consider, if you've never done that, your current healthcare strategy. Okay.
Yes.
And I don't mean your various insurance policies, which is, you know, something we've talked about in other shows, but we're talking about your current diet and exercise plan. You may want to take a look at what you're doing because it does.
Wait, hold up. I'm supposed to have a diet and exercise plan? You mean me getting up and making extra trips to that journey from my table to the pizza buffet doesn't count?
Okay, so I'm the financial guy, right? This is called the Retirement Playbook. So I'm going to relate this to your financial life. Okay.
Okay.
because a lot of the foods that you might be eating and paying for, maybe you eat out a lot or what have you, is can be very costly and affect your wallet, and then possibly affect your savings plan. So there's my tie-in to the financial part of it. But going back to it, I'm a guy, I like to work out. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand not everybody likes to do it, and that's okay. So I'm not here to judge or anything. I'm just saying, having a plan for your health care, if you don't care and you're like, well, just die when I die, then so be it. All right. But if you do care and you're saying, I want to live as long as I can healthy, then you might want to take a look at what you're doing from a healthcare perspective on your eating and your dieting. Because we all know the better you eat, the more you exercise, the healthier you'll be, and the greater chance that you will live to your life expectancy and beyond. That's it. It's pretty simple.
And the healthier you are in retirement, going into retirement and in retirement, the less money you're going to probably need in healthcare. It's not always 100% that's the case. Things happen, but staying healthy is important as well, right? I mean, I think that's huge. People might say, well, I don't want to live longer. That's going to cost me more money in retirement. True, but healthcare costs are going to kill you if you're not healthy. That's for sure.
100%. I mean, 100%. Again, simple things that are powerful. And so, along those lines, though, let's go back to the insurance policy part of it, which is if you've got, insurance policies that depend on, I mean, there's several people that go, Brock, I want long-term care insurance because I don't want to have to pay $8,000 a month if I need a nursing home or in-home care or anything else. Okay, great. Let's talk about long-term care. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is what? Your health. Can you even qualify? And the younger you are, the cheaper it is, obviously. What I normally say about that is like start looking and get a plan together at 50. And then by the time you're 60, you probably ought to have something in place. In other words, have some kind of insurance policy in place. There's other things that factor in. Are you a veteran? Maybe you have the veterans home as an opportunity. But what is your wife going to do? So there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to long-term care. But the first thing we're going to talk about is your health. Can you even qualify? And if you do qualify, but maybe you're rated because of your health, it's going to cost you. So,
and you're talking about qualifying to purchase long-term care insurance, not even to mention the fact that Medicare does not cover long-term care. I mean, it only covers a very small circumstance. You have to have been in the hospital, and you have to need long-term care moving from a hospital. And then they'll only cover 90 to 100 days max. And that's that's best case scenario as far as what Medicare will cover, which is basically nothing.
Right.
And so long-term care is going to cost you one way or the other, but you have different options. There are different strategies on how to help cover long-term care costs in retirement, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the bottom line is when we're talking about your health, the healthier you are, the better chance you'll get approved and the better chance that you'll save money by not being healthy. In other words, you might, get rated up and it might cost more. If you're healthy, it will cost less.
Right. There you go.
Again, even if you can qualify at all. So, we can have a whole show on long-term care. In fact, I'm pretty sure we have done a show on long-term care.
Yes.
Probably multiple. But the point is that, just look, we all know it's just good to exercise. It's good to eat healthy. If you're not into it, I get it, but you understand what the consequences of that decision are.
Yeah,
so anyway.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, it's been a great show. We're out of time, Brock. It just flies by, doesn't it?
Man.
But those are some great, simple but powerful financial steps for people once they turn 50. Let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you, set up a complimentary consultation, and get a copy of your book.
Yeah, a couple different ways. You can just give us a call. Good old-fashioned phone. Pick it up, dial 573-332-7855. Or you can look us up on the web at elspawwealthmanagement.com. All spelled out there, folks. elspawwealthmanagement.com. That's the way to do it, Tony.
All right, and that does it for today's episode of the Retirement Playbook with Brock Alspaugh.